Live from Phoenix, Arizona, you're watching Extraordinary Lovers TV. Every week, we cover topics that transform the world and ourselves through pleasure. And now, your hosts, best-selling author and international Tantra teacher, Laurie Handlers, and creator of the Extraordinary Lovers Experience and sex and happiness coach, Michael Gibson.
Well, let's see if the technology worked. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Extraordinary Lovers TV. This is our world premiere.
Yay!
Very exciting, very exciting. And wow, we've got people that are following already, so we're looking forward to meeting every one of you. And we did say earlier that, or at least in an email, if you got the email telling you about the Extraordinary Lovers TV, this is a live stream for lovers. My name is Michael Gibson, and this is Laurie Handlers, and we're your hosts.
Yay, welcome.
Yeah, and also every Friday, we're going to be getting together right here on twitch.tv / Extraordinary Lovers TV, and we will be answering your questions. We'll be talking to some of the industry's leading experts on love and relationships and all those things, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting. Hi, Laurie.
Hi, Michael.
How are you today?
I'm good.
You look fabulous.
Thank you.
I like your outfit.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know what I always say after that, right?
Yeah, it'll look great on my bedroom floor.
Usually does. Well, it's so good to see everybody today. And look, we've got Angela DeYoung.
Hi,
Hi,
Angela.
Angela. How are you? Oh, welcome, welcome. And we got congratulations on the show. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that. From time to time, you'll see us look over there because that's where one of our monitors is, and that's how we know. But thank you so much for following us too, Angela. How are you?
Do you want her to write?
Yeah, in the chat, just let us know how you're doing, see how things are going. Most of the work that we do for this show will be interacting with the chat. Because, again, we're going to be answering their questions, finding out what's new in people's lives.
David Schumacher is on.
That's right.
Hi, David.
Ah, look.
How exciting.
Well,
and there's some other people I know and some other people I don't know.
Yeah, we have Chrissy on. She's our exo-worthy warrior. Mwah. Hi, Chrissy. And so we're excited for that. So it's so good to see you. Now, what do I have to say about, let's see here, this show?
Yeah, let's talk about the show. We're not giving them anything.
Yeah.
We're not giving up any hard dick or bubblegum yet.
No, we're not. But we will. So we got a couple things going on today. We got a couple of things going on today. One of the things that we're going to be doing is, when you come in, just give us a follow. You'll, go on into Twitch and get yourself an account and then go ahead and follow us. And what we're doing is we're giving away, I believe it's 3 PDF copies of your book.
Oh, nice.
We're giving away 3 of those. And then we're also giving away that package Lottie Han. It's a value of about $27. And it is the package of Lottie Han that you had Eric Mandala create the music for.
Oh, great.
So tell a little bit about that.
Okay, so Lottie Han is a practice. I mean, we can just go in the middle like that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Lottie Han is a practice of moving in the unknown, which right now during COVID, we've all been moving in the unknown for a very long time. So Lottie Han means to move in the unknown, and hopefully you graduate from moving in the unknown to making love in the unknown. When you're making love in the unknown, you don't get into a rut, and get bored with the fact that you or your partner are doing the same thing over and over again. But you start letting go of what you know or technique, and you start moving into an unknown space, and that gives you more opportunity for creativity. And then when you can make love in the unknown, you can make love to life in the unknown. And this time of our lives requires different perspective on everything. So making love to life in the unknown means that you could catch whatever life is throwing your way, and you can play, and you can really have some fun with it, even though the circumstances are not exactly what we all thought would happen or we all carved out for ourselves. It's happening, might as well make love to it.
That's right.
So how do they get that?
All you need to do is follow us on Twitch TV, and so if you'll follow us, we'll be hand selecting one of you to receive either the book and or
The Lottie Han.
the Lottie Han.
Lottie Han.
yeah.
And I didn't say anything about the music. So Eric Mandala is a fabulous musician who lives in Montreal, and he and his partner Zoo, we met them in Mexico right around now last year, and they did a live jam to a Lottie Han. Like we had 100 people doing Lottie Han in this big space at the Mexico Tantra Festival last year.
Oh,
and
so
they
much fun.
played live music. They played the didgeridoo, they played the violin, they played stringed instruments, they did voice. And I thought they were so great. They were like jazz musicians jamming to everyone doing Lottie Han. They were creating the music as they saw how people were moving, and people were moving as to how they heard the music. So it was a real, like a jam session.
It was.
And so I hired Eric to make me some outrageously great Lottie Han music, and he did. He made me an hour-long piece of music that is now my new Lottie Han music.
You know what? It was an amazing scene too. So imagine, we're basically in the jungle of Mexico, and we have Eric, who's playing the stringed instrument, up on stage, and then everybody's moving around in this unknown way of moving, blindfolded, and Zoo is standing. She's going around with the didgeridoo, and she's inserting herself into the movement without touching anybody, and then blowing on the didgeridoo or doing what she was doing, and it
Whatever
was just
you do to a didgeridoo,
amazing. Yeah, I don't know what you do with it. But it was amazing because the people afterwards, they were all commenting, going, wow, I felt like you were right there with us. And we were like, yeah, they were.
They were.
They were right there with
you.
It was
So
awesome.
they're awesome musicians. That's Eric Mandala. You can look him up on Facebook.
Yeah. Welcome, Sunny Delight. Thank you. And then Clink Beard, I think, just followed. Thank you for following us. Brian Craig is following us. That's amazing. Yeah, we've got so many new followers. We're so excited and
we're going to
really
see
pleased.
Brian and Karen at the One World Tantra Festival.
That's right. Yeah.
We're presenting at it, and so are Brian and Karen Craig.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to playing with you. Follow us
Well,
to get a
let's
chance
talk
to win a
about the
copy.
show. Let's talk a little bit about the show. They're following us, but let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we're doing on here. What's our vision and our mission. Why did you start this, Michael?
I'm going to tell on myself a little bit. And I love video games. Like, I like watching people play video games. And I came to Twitch, and that's really all I was doing, was watching people play video games. And I thought, this is kind of cool, And what really caught me was the ability to have the interaction with the chat. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. I can talk to the gamer or the streamer or whatever. And then I went and I started looking at this thing called IRL, in real life. And it was awesome. I thought, wow, that's kind of cool, in real life.
That's the thing for in real life.
Yeah, IRL. It's
Okay.
like Ireland, but not really.
I see.
So we had in real life. It was really cool. Keith Hicks just followed us. Welcome, Keith.
Hi, Keith.
Yep, Sims G. Thanks for the follows, everybody. So anyway, I'm going through this, and then I started looking at other just chatting and things like that, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. People are just having conversations like you and I always like when we do our podcast. This is really what we do. We sit down, we chat,
We have a conversation.
we get to know people, that kind of thing.
So you wanted to involve all these other people in our conversation about sex and happiness and extraordinary love and what it means, and you want to include the people, and you want them also to come on the show.
Yeah, and I wanted to have really interesting conversations. I call them extraordinary conversations with people in our lives, in our current life, and then also with some of the experts that we know who are out there doing work, so that we could expose this to more people. And I really thought about, this is a great, Twitch is a great platform with which to have this level of interaction and to be able to hang out.
I'm just going to give a secret, which is Michael thinks that all of life is a video game anyway. So this is a video game platform, and now we're in our own video game. So.
But we all get to win, right?
Yeah.
So and I thought,
we don't have to kill anybody. It doesn't have to be.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go and watch gamers game, you can do that here on Twitch. It's lots of fun to do.
No, I'm not recommending that.
Yeah, I mean, you can. But what I thought was, okay, these are folks that are out there just having fun and playing around and doing whatever they're doing. And then there's some people that are having conversations. And I thought, what a great place to bring this topic of sex and happiness, of what it means to be an extraordinary lover. You know, relationships. You and I, we believe that couples are an endangered species. You know, so we really wanted to help people, number one, and I thought, what a great place to do that, and you know, and have the high level of interaction that we can have with people. So,
okay, great.
So that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this, and we wanted to be able to answer questions like real time, get your questions answered. We plan to do something called relationship rescue. Some of you may have a question that could rescue your relationship, and we're here for you. We want to be able to help you with that. And then we have other things that are going to be happening, which is very exciting. Some upcoming new people that we've met and that are in our lives. Everything from dating coaches, from men's dating coaches, to Tantra Teachers, international Tantra Teachers. We have an incredible guest for you today. We're very excited to have them on board. I'm not going to give it away yet, but they're going to be here in a little while.
I think you should give it away.
You should. I should?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you give it away?
No, you give it away.
You want me to give it away?
Yeah.
Well, all right then. I'm very excited.
I think we should do the, the drum roll. Yeah.
Our special guest for this first episode of season 1 of Extraordinary Lovers TV is. You got to do the drum.
I did the drum
okay.
roll.
It's Monique Darling and Peter Petersen.
Yay!
They are going to be here today. So we're going to, and they're in Cabo San Lucas right now. So they're going to be joining us via Zoom. They'll be on here in a little while, and we're so excited to have them with us. So we're looking forward to it.
And we love and adore them. So,
yes,
yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to it. So, and if you have any questions, put them in the chat and let us know. We're happy to answer them for you. Let's see here. We got Sims G. Keith Higgs, we just said, came in. So who is Sunny Delight? I'm curious. Who is that? Are they in right now? And then we had, David, Baby Yoda. Thanks for following. Also, Ask the Wizard 59. I'm curious to know who that is.
Yeah.
Hopefully, many of you are our friends and have come over from Facebook and Instagram to hang out with us
And also
today.
from my newsletter.
And from your newsletter, yes.
Yeah.
We have Guadalupe 438. Thank you for the follow. Let's see here. Sizz Saws. That's an interesting name.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. DJ S Jam followed us. Thank you for the follow. Kay Vaught is following us.
Kay. Hi,
Hey,
Kay.
Kay.
I just read your comment on Facebook. Thank you so much.
Daniel C. Fox, thank you for the follow.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
Part of our family.
Yeah, this is Raf is following us. Thank you for that. And of course, let's see here. Oh, and we did say David Shoemaker, yeah?
I shouted out to
Oh,
David long
well,
ago.
I didn't get a chance to shout out to you, David. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. So excited to be here with you. Okay, so do you want to take on a topic?
Yeah.
Okay. Our first topic is Lottie Han. Today is a day for new beginnings. It's moving in the unknown. This is something Laurie and I...
We've never done this before.
We've never
this
done...
is totally a Lottie Han for us.
Yep.
I've had a few TV appearances in my life, but it's very different from this. This was Michael's creation. He's enrolled me in the idea that Twitch TV is the way to go, and that we should do this. And I just kind of I said, okay, it's your thing. Put it all together, and I'll show up. So we are Lottie Haning. We are moving through the unknown. Chrissy, who is being our producer on this show, Chrissy's never done this before, so she's Lottie Haning. Chrissy trusts us enough to trust herself enough to trust the process of Lottie Han. Yeah. And so it's all new. Yeah. And you know what? I feel like life should be like that. Like, life is worth living when it doesn't get into a rut, when it doesn't get into this boring thing that, like, oh, I wake up every day, I do the same friggin' thing. I'm in this routine. No. Life is like exciting when we take on new things and when we have to stretch, when we have to grow, and so Lottie Han helps us do that. By the way, we spell Lottie Han, Latihan. I learned it years ago. I think I learned it in 1998, to do the practice of Latihan, and it's like my favorite practice, and I enrolled you in it. And
Yeah.
you love it, and some of the people that we just mentioned that are tuned in with us today, they do it also because they learned it from us. We shared it with them, and they understand what Latihan is. And so every once in a while, everyone needs a reminder.
Yeah.
Like, let go of everything that you like normally do, and go into an unknown space. Put on some music, put on a blindfold, and let yourself just move.
Yeah. Moving into the unknown
Yeah.
is one of the things that you taught me that I love. And how I got to it was, well, you and I met over some wine, and then we met again over something else.
Yeah.
And then I went and did your bliss course, which was really, this is the first time I'd ever done an actual Tantra course. I had taken other kinds of Tantra massage courses where I learned how to do Tantra massage. I thought that's what Tantra was. I thought it was massage.
A lot of people think that they write to somebody and they go, do you do one-on-one Tantra sessions? And here's the thing. I don't have a negative take on one-on-one Tantra sessions. A lot of people I know do them and they're expert at it. But I always felt like if you feel like you need someone else to practice Tantra, then you have the wrong idea about Tantra. It is not dependent on you being in a relationship with someone else. It's not dependent on you going to someone else and getting a session from them. You can run energy. You can do breath, sound, and movement in your own body. So I always encourage people to take a class in Tantra and learn what Tantra. I think if Monique and Peter were on right now, I think they'd go, yes, yes. They'd say the same thing. Like, I always encourage people to move the energy in your own body and see what that feels like. Tantra is not a session where something gets done to you necessarily, and it can be a Tantra massage session.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
I know you thought it was that. A lot of people think it's that.
This just goes to show you how naive I was. I didn't know, and I really didn't think to go into it too deeply. And then when you came out, now you've got to imagine, Laurie. Imagine Laurie wearing a red Cleopatra type wig. That's pretty much what it was.
At the course he came to, there was something wrong with my hair, so I wore a wig that day, and it was always a little bit askew.
She looked adorable, and she looked just like Cleopatra. It was so funny. And so here she is. She steps onto the stage, and she just takes command of the room. And then she says something that I had never heard before, which was, Tantra is about breath, sound, and movement. And if anybody tells you any different, they're lying to you. Tantra is breath, sound, and movement. And I thought, wow, this is actually something that I can use in my life. I mean, these are practices that I can use in my life. So I did. I started learning from Laurie. I became her apprentice at some point, and we completed that. Now I'm certified sex and happiness coach. And life is, very different than what it used to be. I was a network engineer for a while.
You were a network engineer nerd.
I still am a nerd. There's no, once a nerd, always a nerd. I think is how that goes, right?
Well, your nerdiness found Twitch TV, so it's a good thing. Nerd is a good thing.
I love this platform. I think it's got a lot to offer. I think that, Twitch is one of those places where you can actually interact with people real time and have fun with it. So, so we're looking forward to doing that. Now, when we have Monique and Peter come on, we're also going to do a Q&A with them. We have some people that are really wanting to ask questions of them and, what are they doing in the world of Tantra, but they really are an extraordinary couple. Well, I just had a hitch right there. They really are an extraordinary couple.
Do you have hiccups?
No, I don't. Okay. It went down the wrong pipe.
Oh, okay. Well, Monique and Peter will be here soon, and we'll talk to them about Tantra and what they're doing uniquely. And just to let you know, we're planning to do some combined away games with them. We're planning to have some very awesome couples retreats with them in Mexico, in the area of Zihuatanejo. But that's all on the drawing board right now. Nothing is a definite yet. We have a little more planning to do with them.
But we also have other plans and
Yeah,
some
we have
other
a lot
things
of
that are
plans,
happening.
But I just thought to say,
Yeah. So
we're
back to
working
Lottie
on
Han, I took this bliss course from you,
yes,
and during the bliss course, you did the Lottie Han, and that was the first time I had ever taken my senses and said, I'm not going to do the same thing I always do. And one of the instructions you gave, I think, was that let your body move you. Don't move your body.
when impulse to move,
When
moves
impulse
you.
to move. And then the other thing was the part about, connecting to other people and how to maintain that, just wonder.
How to maintain boundaries and wonderment. So
Yeah.
so if you're doing Latihan with other people, which we just described in Mexico, we did it with 100 people or more, moving in the unknown. So when you come upon another person, you move with your back of your arm, because you don't have time to have a boundaries conversation. Don't touch me here or don't touch me like that. So I've had experiences where people were walking around like this, and then they grab somebody's breast, and then the person recoils and contracts.
Yeah.
So rather than that, I just tell people to move, if they're moving, to move and to let the connection be with the back of the arm. So if I felt I'm having trouble with my arm today, so I can do it like this. My right arm feels like it has a bit of tennis elbow, so it feels really weird to even just rub up against you. Yeah. I haven't been playing tennis either, so I don't even know what's going on.
So that particular experience shifted some things for me, and then also talking about how in couples' lives things can get into the rut really quickly. Like things can just be normal, it be ordinary. You know what I mean? Like in a coupledom, you get so familiar.
It's funny. A lot of people are not in relationship, and they're looking for a relationship.
Right.
Like they want a relationship, and then they get in a relationship, and then they get into fights, and into ill at ease with their partner or partners.
Right.
And so we're here to help people once they find someone they want to relate to stay in the love.
Yeah.
To keep returning to love with them, and to not get into those fights, and to also not get into those boring ruts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the idea is that there is the ordinary, which you just described.
Yeah.
Right, and then there's what's extraordinary. So, and what that takes is to move in the unknown. So Latihan is a huge part of our practice. It is a tantric practice, although it wasn't created by tantrikas. It was created by the Subud.
Yes, by a group, the Subud in Indonesia, and the Subud have centers in other parts of the world now. There's a center in New York. There's a center in L.A. I think there's one in Chicago, Santa Rosa, maybe even London. And where they do the practice of Latihan, but very different tantrikas stole the practice and put it into a tantric context. And I didn't take it first. Someone taught it to me, but I took it and ran with it. I love it.
I do too. I love it a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. So with that said, moving through any questions that people might have. If you have a question, throw it up in the chat. We'd be happy to answer those for you. I think one of the things that people ask us pretty regularly is, how do you have a fair fight?
Yeah.
And you know what we say?
We don't agree with that. We don't agree with fighting.
What's a fair fight? You both get beat up? Is that what a fair fight? You equally trash each other, or what? I don't get it. Like, who wins the fight?
We don't agree with fighting. We don't think it's necessary to fight.
Fighting is ordinary.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing.
So we give people some techniques on how to communicate so that you don't get into fights. It doesn't go so far that you've now got the impetus to fight. You have the energy to fight. And look, fighting is appropriate occasionally. Like sometimes you need to stand up for yourself and speak your truth, but it doesn't have to devolve into a fight necessarily. So,
right. Yeah. So when I say, why fight? Really what I mean is, why not get to the source of the problem? And oftentimes what people do is they spiral down, right? They get into these, and we call this the 3 R's. I'm not going to teach on the 3 R's today, but there really is this thing that spirals people down into this oblivion of, oh my gosh, at one point you were in lovey-dovey and you couldn't keep your hands off each other. And then over time, it's like, where did all these eggshells come from? Like, you're walking on eggshells now.
It usually comes from people not speaking their truth.
Right.
Like just trying to be nice or accommodate or not rock the apple cart. All those things. Oh.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't, like if you're going to mention the 3 R's, you should say what they are because
Okay.
because people,
Of course.
need a reference.
The 3 R's are resentment, resistance, and revenge. These are the 3 R's that can take
They could take any relationship down.
yeah.
Best friends,
Yeah.
people in love, families. Lots of people have resentment in their families, and they also have revenge. They tolerate the people that they supposedly love the most.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we don't agree with that. We think that all of that should be aired.
It's devastating. In fact, we're not immune to it. We have to be very careful to make sure that resentment or resistance or revenge doesn't, sneak in. And the ways that we do that is Laurie wrote a book several years ago called Sex and Happiness, the Tantric Laws of Intimacy. And one of the primary, one of the laws is to speak your truth. And so often in a relationship, we stop speaking our truth. That's what I meant by we're all walking on eggshells, trying not to, step on each other's toes. It's a mess.
Well, I think that part of that comes because when people first meet each other, they don't show their whole self. They only show their side of themselves that they want somebody to really like they show this beautifully animated part of themselves. Someone we know calls it, they send their representative. So they don't show their whole card because they're afraid that, they have the idea, most people have this idea, if you knew this about me, you wouldn't love me.
Right.
So they walk around like this, so they don't want to show that part. If you knew this about me when you first meet me, you wouldn't love me. I feel like we should tell that right away.
Right.
Hi, I'm Laurie Handlers, and oh, by the way, I don't keep secrets very well. I'm Laurie Handlers, and speaking of tone sometimes, I'm Laurie Handlers, and oh, by the way, I could be bossy. I was an older sister. So I'd like you to know that right away so that you know what you're getting into instead of finding that out later like, oh, you found out I'm bossy. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You found out that I have a tone, or you found out that I can't keep secrets. Like, I don't want to keep secrets.
Yeah.
Like, it's a choice. So there's a lot of things about me that I'd like you to know right off the bat. So that you have a choice whether you want to be with me or not. And I don't think any of those things make me unlovable. But I had to learn that. That was a transformational process.
I happen to be mean sometimes.
You are mean sometimes.
And
you're still lovable.
I'm still lovable, but yeah, I can be mean. I can be pretty mean.
You can be mean and you're still lovable. So that's, why hide that?
Yeah. Well, and I can also be funny. And you can be hilarious. Oh, gosh.
Hopefully we'll be a little hilarious on this show. The whole notion of this show is hilarious to me.
Well, you're super brave. And I'm the blender.
Right now you're making private jokes.
We should let everybody in on that one.
So I'm taking this treatment now.
I'm torturing her every single morning.
I found out that I had cataracts.
Yeah.
And so I was scheduled to have surgery this month. The first surgery was going to be the end of October, and the second surgery was supposed to be on November 3rd, Election Day. And I canceled the surgery. I postponed it because my shaman, who some of you know, his name is Albert Bitton. He lives in Berlin. Some of you met him in Mexico last year at ISTA. Albert said to me, why don't you do plant medicine in your eyes to see if it will change the cataracts? So this is day 33. of something called sananga, which is actually frog poison. And is it?
No. Sananga,
Oh, no.
Sananga is a root.
Sananga is 2 roots like ayahuasca, only they're for the eyes.
Yeah.
And you put it in drops in your eyes, and Michael has to put it in my eyes every morning. And it's a killer. It feels terrible. It's burning, and it feels like sand in the eyes. But supposedly it's making my eyes better.
It burns, though.
So
What would you say the pain level is on a scale of 1 to 10?
it's 10.
It's a 10.
It's a 10.
Yeah.
It's a 9, 10. I mean, I'm used to it now, and it still isn't. It still hurts.
I can't believe you don't hate me.
I don't hate you. I asked you to do it.
Because I have been torturing you every morning for the past 33 days.
I know, but I want you to. So.
Well, so here, this is why I'm the blender, and she's super brave. Because
I ask him to say to me every day how brave I am.
so I tell her.
Say that I'm brave.
Oh, you're so brave. You're so brave. So on day 31, I said, you know what? 31 days, honey, you did this. You did this for 30 days. Now this is day 31. I said, you are super brave. I added super to it. And she says, oh, thank you. And you know what I do after all the pain goes away?
He holds me.
I cuddle her. I just hold her. And so what I'll do is I'll just start kind of rocking with her and do that. And then she goes, oh, you're the blender.
He felt like a blender to me.
Because I'm doing this, I think. Is that why?
You're a Vitamix.
Is it my body? I'm the blender. She's super brave.
I'm super brave.
We have a word. We have another for Chrissy. We're not telling that one though.
We do?
She's super awesome.
Why wouldn't you tell her?
No, Chrissy and I have a name for her, but
Oh,
we're
okay.
not telling.
Oh, okay.
We're not telling that.
I don't
one.
know what it is.
It's
I guess.
awesome. It's
Okay.
an awesome name.
Okay.
All right. So let's give an example of speaking your truth. That's what Chrissy asked for.
Okay.
Exo-worthy warrior.
And also there's something here about teaching how to maintain boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah. Lottie Han can teach you how to maintain boundaries for sure.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Boundaries, well, all right. We'll take I like to take boundaries first.
Before speaking your truth?
Yeah.
Okay.
So boundaries are permeable membranes. They're like permeable membranes. They're like 1 cell thick, and they keep out toxins and they let in nutrients. So that's the way we are in life. Boundaries are something, they're not permanent, and boundaries are not like brick walls. Boundaries are, it's my no for the moment. This is my no, and this is my hell yes. And maybe is a no. In our world, in the world of Tantra, when somebody says, well, maybe I'd like to try that, that's like no for
Right.
now. Until you're a hell yes, it's a no. I'm not going to try anything with you. I'm not going to be intimate with you. I'm not going to touch you if you say no. So boundaries are something that keeps out what I think is going to be toxic and lets in what I think is going to be nourishing. And I can, they're mine. I get to say them, and I get to enforce them. And then when they're respected, then I get to change them. So if I say no to you about a bunch of things, and then you respect me, then I see that you're respecting me. I may not have to have the same boundary.
It's really interesting how boundaries work. I don't know if any of you have ever had this situation where somebody crossed a boundary and then you told them about it, like you were like, hey, you know what, that's not okay. And you gave them your boundary and then they violated that boundary again. So it's kind of like when the child asks, you know, can I have a cookie? And you say no. Well, the first time it's just no. The next time it's no. The next time it's more of a stern no. And if they're a little bit older and maybe a teenager, it could become a fuck no. Like no, right? That's what happens when your boundaries are constantly being violated. And you begin to have this experience in your gut. It's kind of a gut feel, like, oh, it feels terrible. It just does.
And that is also one of the chapters in my book. Boundaries are not your partner's or your friend's responsibility. Boundaries are your responsibility to enforce and to communicate.
Yep.
So A lot of times we don't know what our boundaries are till somebody goes over it.
Right.
And then we go, oh, I had a boundary there. I hated that. Please don't do that again.
Right.
I'm going to say no to you about that. So I like the one, like if somebody borrows money and they say they're going to pay back in a week.
Yeah.
And then you agree to that, and then they don't pay back. So now I have a boundary with this person. One, I want to know when you're going to pay back. You said you'd pay back in a week. You're not paying back. I want to know what your plan is to pay back. And I got a boundary. I'm probably not going to, I would never lend you money again. I might not lend anybody money again based on you.
Yeah.
You know, and it may, it may just be that way because I haven't had boundaries in the past about that.
What in our relating, when we first got together, I shared with you some of my boundaries, and one of my boundaries was you don't sleep over and I don't sleep over.
He doesn't do sleepovers.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, okay, fine.
I said, let's have, we'll have our interaction and we'll relate, and then, when it's time to go to sleep, I really do need my own space to sleep in, and so I set that boundary, and and she didn't resist it. She just was like, okay, great, I can respect that. She respected the boundary, and then over time, I was able to loosen that boundary because I was able to say to Laurie, hey, would it be okay if I spent the night tonight? If I stayed over tonight? And you should have seen her face.
I was so surprised.
Her jaw dropped. She, really? I said, yeah. She said, I would love that. So what's my point? Well, my point is when your boundaries are honored and the person is honoring that boundary, sometimes those boundaries become looser and they're not they're not barriers.
No, they change. The boundaries can change. Boundaries are permeable.
Yeah.
Like permeable membranes. All right, now we wanted to talk about speak your truth.
Yeah, because inside of boundaries, the example of inside a boundary and speak your truth, I think is just that, isn't it? You got to share with people what is it that your boundary is.
Right. Well, speak your truth could be anything. Speak your truth could be, I don't even know an example of speak your truth right now. I don't know one off the top. I'm stumped.
You could speak your truth about sex and happiness. You could speak your truth about politics. You could say what's true for you about any number of things. For instance, one of the boundaries that I have is I don't shower with anybody else. My showers last maybe 3 minutes. I'm in and out, and I'm usually showering while the water is starting to get warm, like it's cold. And what's really funny is that when Laurie didn't know why, for the longest time, she was like, "Why don't you want to shower? I love showering with people. I want to shower with you." I said, "That's a no. That's a no. That's a boundary that I still haven't opened up." And when I spoke my truth about it, I told her, I said, "I feel like water is the most precious resource that we have on the planet, and I will not waste it." So she was like, "Oh, wow, got it." So yeah, I'm very careful with my water.
Like really, who cares? Like.
But that's a speak my truth moment.
Yeah.
Right?
You could speak your truth about anything.
Sure.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It's your truth. I can't give you an example because, like, as you watch the show, like, I'll speak my truths about things,
Right.
and then they'll just be mine. I mean, they don't have to be yours. They're
That's
mine.
right.
Yeah.
So it is subjective. It's your truth. Right? So, okay. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good topics so far.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. Are you?
Yeah.
I hope you're having fun. Yeah. Well, let's see here. So moving forward, oh man, we have, oh gosh, I guess about 15 minutes or so, yeah, before our guests come in. Are there any questions inside the chat? I'm looking into the chat right now. I'm not seeing any questions. Come on, chat, hook us up with a question we can answer. How many Legos does it take to make a Death Star? That's a great question. I don't know.
Did someone ask that?
No, I made that up on the spot.
I'm like, what?
I made that up on the fly.
I don't even think I've ever played with Legos, so
Really?
how would I know that? No.
Have you ever seen any Star Wars movies?
Yeah.
Yeah? Which
I saw the first two.
the first two. So, yeah, A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
But which is 4 and 5. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out on you.
I don't care. It's not my thing.
Speaking her truth.
It was amusing. People in my neighborhood, I lived in Washington, D.C. then. People in my neighborhood, I lived in a neighborhood where the Uptown Theater was. For anyone who's on here from Washington. And the Uptown Theater is an old, classic movie theater in Washington, D.C. And people were, like, camping out in front of the theater for, like, 2 days before one of those movies opened up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, seriously?
1977.
I could...
Star Wars came out. That was the first one.
Oh, no. Oh, no, not that one.
It was the second
I
one?
didn't live there then. It was the second one.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were camped out there, and I thought, this is just a movie. People, get a grip. Get a life.
It was groundbreaking cinema.
Okay.
Let's call it that.
All right.
And, you know, well, your idea of groundbreaking cinema is some great
I
movies that
saw
we've seen.
2001 Space
Oh,
Odyssey.
that was an amazing
Yeah.
shift.
I still remember Hal.
Yeah, that was crazy. I love that movie.
Okay.
And it was a terrifying movie. The idea that AI could do
Here
what,
we are.
and here we are today, living out.
AI, they said on,
Yikes.
what was that movie? Something concern. Social concern?
Oh, the Social Dilemma.
Social dilemma.
That's
yeah,
the
they
one.
said that Hal has taken over.
Yeah.
Hal is here now.
How many of you have seen the Social? Oh, wait a minute. Christine's on. Hi, Christine. Hello. It's so good to
Chris
see you.
Petersen?
Yeah.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. Oh, she says, I love this format. Love being able to see you. Oh, my goodness. It's so good to see you. Thank you. Welcome.
Let us know if you have any questions about anything, because you've been involved with us for some time now.
Yeah, yeah.
And there might be some residual questions or something that you think we should share with folks that they don't know about us. You know,
Yeah.
or they don't know what happens in our classes or whatever.
Right, yeah.
I'm not putting, you know, there's no pressure in that.
Yeah, there is. No.
No, there isn't. There isn't.
We love you.
Yeah.
We just want you to know that.
Yeah.
So what we were talking about, the Social Dilemma. Yeah, that was kind of a shocking show to watch on Netflix. It was very interesting. It was a documentary, but it was a documentary that was kind of weaved in with a storyline. And
It's an old story of Frankenstein.
yeah,
You know, the doctor creates something, and then the something has a life of its own. So the doctor has all these bells and whistles that it wants to put into this to this created being, and then the being has a mind and a life of its own. It gets up off the table and, you know, goes out there and maybe does harm. So they said the same thing about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google. You know, all of that. If you haven't seen it, it's worth seeing, just to know that there's some way that it's imperative that we pay attention. You know, and that we don't just take all the suggestions that artificial intelligence is giving us. Because
Yeah.
there's like a rabbit hole that we get led down. I'm not so much for that.
well, the algorithms were really curious, and who knows what, you know, it's
They
almost
they didn't set out to do that.
no.
That's what they said. They did not set out to do it. It just happened as things progressed. So I don't think there was malintent, but it certainly changed. It changed the way I look at it.
Well, and so here's the other thing that I wanted to say, and that is that when we saw that movie, it shifted a bunch of things for us. Like you know, for instance, the guy who actually made the like button
Yeah.
for Facebook,
Yeah.
he was one of the interviewees.
Yeah.
He was one of the people interviewed on this show, and he was talking about. He said he didn't realize that the like button had become a way for people to gauge their self-worth.
Their self-worth. especially teenagers.
Oh man.
But I know that the like button produces oxytocin in people.
It does.
And we always tell people to get to be lovers, like producing oxytocin in each other.
Yeah.
But the like button, it turns out on social media, for some people becomes more important than being liked and loved by real people.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those.
Especially for forming people, teenage girls, teenage boys.
Yeah, so the important thing here is to be careful with social media. And I think it was Jim Quick. I was watching a video by Jim Quick. He's the guy that can teach you how to have amazing memory, and he had brain damage at one point. But I
love his last name, Quick.
Yeah, he's like, you can learn things quick and you can retain them forever. But one of the things he says, if you want to make your life better overnight, the first thing in the morning, take an hour to yourself and do something other than pick up your phone. He's like,
I do that.
Leave your phone.
I stretch and work out in the morning.
Yeah. He says, leave your phone alone for an hour, and then once you get at least one thing accomplished for your day, then pick up your phone like it's a reward. Yeah, and I thought that was brilliant. I like the guy. Yeah.
Oh, I see Monique.
Yeah, well, guess what? They're in the green room.
Okay.
They're in the green room. That's awesome.
Can you hear me, Annie?
Yes.
Yes.
We can hear you.
We can hear you and we can see you. I can't see Peter.
Peter's coming right here.
Okay, wonderful.
I can see you. I can't see Peter. Peter's coming right here.
Oh, we got echo.
There's an echo. Okay.
I heard that like 3 times.
So we're gonna get this technology thing worked out, and
it shouldn't be. You should be able to hear this. But hi guys, we're gonna let you in. Don't tell anybody else that we're talking to you right now. We're gonna let you into the live stream here in just a minute, okay?
Okay.
I love the glasses.
Yeah, pretend that you're just hanging out in our green room
in Cabo. That's awesome. Well, do you want to introduce them? I do.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to introduce 2 of my sweetest, dearest colleagues, friends, loves. They're both, as individuals, they have, there's a lot of fanfare for each one of them in their own right. Monique, darling, I've known Monique longer, I guess, than I know Peter. And she has taught Tantra around the world. She teaches, for a while, I didn't even know how she did it. Like, she'd be in another city every 3 days or every 2 days doing like mini workshops, like doing things and introducing people to things that they never conceived of. And then she met Peter, and Peter is a Qigong expert. I don't know if I'm saying it right. He's an amazing body practitioner and also a tantrika, and they teamed up, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago. They'll tell us. And they're a knockout punch. Like, they're amazing. They're an amazing team. And right now they're in Cabo San Lucas with a whole bunch of other tantrika people. We were supposed to be there, but we couldn't go because of this eye thing going on with me, with the eyes, with the Sananga, with whatever.
Right.
So we decided to bring them in as if we were all together.
Yeah.
So here they are.
We're
here
so
they
excited.
are with us.
Yep. Let me bring up that scene real quick.
Okay.
Hey, Chrissy, you're gonna have to close off your camera. You have to turn off your camera. All right. I can still see you. There we go. Hey, there they are. All right. So here's what I want to do here, Laurie.
What?
Welcome to the live stream.
Welcome to the first episode of Extraordinary Lovers TV.
Yeah.
And you 2 are extraordinary lovers, so that's why you're on with us.
We're so excited to be here. We love you both so much.
Thank you so much.
I don't know if you heard my introduction. Did you hear my introduction of you?
No, it was muted. We can see you speaking, but we didn't get to hear you.
I was talking about you. I hope your ears and your noses were itching.
I'm sure.
I said that, Monique, you've taught Tantra around the world. For a while, you were doing you'd be in a different city every 2 and 3 days, doing lots of mini workshops. Then you met Peter. I said 4 or 5 years ago. I don't remember when exactly.
Five-ish. Going on 6.
Okay, great. And then you two joined forces, and then you started doing workshops all over the world together, mini workshops, and now you're doing longer workshops.
Yes.
There was a time when I thought, how can she do this? She's on a plane every other day, going somewhere and then doing like 5 classes. So,
it was fun for a while, Laurie.
We would do 7 or 8 classes a week. So Saturday and Sunday doing 2 or 3 classes a day.
Yeah.
No more.
It was amazing. I didn't want to do that. I just went bless them for their stamina and their energy. But so tell us a little bit now what you're doing. Tell us just a little bit, because I didn't include the up to date in my introduction. I know that you have a facilitators workshop, because I was part of that, and I also know that you're playing right now. You're off in Cabo, so. But tell us a little bit about your courses.
We're planning all kinds of fun stuff here in Cabo. Cabo's such a magical place. So we're going to do our women's workshop and a couples retreat. And then, yes, it will be our 7th annual facilitator training here next November. So we have some longer retreats in store, and we're very excited.
Beautiful. And I told people that we were planning to do a couples retreat in the area, we think, of Zihuatanejo sometime in 2021.
Yes, we can't wait for that. Fall time, right? Fall.
Yeah. Well,
it'll be magical. It's really one of the most beautiful places on earth.
So you two are playing on the beach, and not just you two. There's a whole crew. You got a whole crew together down there, didn't you?
Yeah, we have 19 other dear friends and lovers, and just this morning, Laurie, oh my God, I wish I could transmit it across the screen to you. But the women all gathered me in the bathroom, and they had roses and flowers, and they put bindis on my forehead, and they just expressed their desires and their love, and just going through the circle and just trying to open my heart more, and just sharing. And then we all did yoni gazing with each other, and then we put 6 people in the bathtub, in the master bath, and it was just the most incredible morning. And that's just one day. Every day's been epic here.
That's
beautiful.
Awesome.
Beautiful, really, really beautiful. So we're talking about, let me tell you what we're talking about today in this first show. We'd like to talk about extraordinary love. What do you think? Each of you, separately, what do you think makes extraordinary love different from ordinary? Different from ordinary love. I know you've both had ordinary love before, but what makes love extraordinary? Although, Monique, when I think of you, I think of extraordinary love, times 10.
I love that, Laurie. You want to go first or second?
Oh, you go ahead.
Well, for me, then, one of the main differences of extraordinary love is really, really feeling more yourself when you're with another person. Because in ordinary love, then so often, then I actually feel more alone when I'm with the person than when I'm actually alone. And so as finding this extraordinary love, and it's there's all this room and permission and space that I'm being held, so more of myself gets to come and gets to, we get to reimagine whatever love looks like. And as you know, I was married, and I'm still married to my husband, that we were married for 26 years now. And we got to change, exactly what does love look like for us? And so we're still co-parents, we're still amazing friends. And then he gave me away at my ceremony with Peter. And there's, to me, extraordinary love is consistently finding that space and room to be more yourself together.
Beautiful.
That is so good.
A great answer.
Yeah.
My answer is a lot like that, where I feel a shared passion between the two people. It helps synergize your energy of being together, It's like you bring out each other's creativity, you bring out each other's ability to be empathetic and compassionate, and you just have an ability to connect on a different level than just the physical. And I feel like if you have that energetic and spiritual connection that is really in tune with someone else's passion and purpose, that is extraordinary love.
Yeah.
Love that.
Absolutely.
I love that you said purpose there.
Being in alignment.
Yeah, because
Correct.
I feel like sometimes people have the idea that if they just get in a relationship, everything's going to be okay. Like if I just had a relationship, my life would work. And I feel like you need to put the relationship has to have a higher purpose.
Right.
Absolutely. I've been in relationships before where everything's great. We get along, that we're both very flexible. We have great communication and chemistry. We have awesome, amazing sex, but the passion and purpose piece wasn't there with that person. And it eventually, the energy faded and we decided like, this isn't for us. And not to take anything away from that relationship, like it was an amazing stepping stone for me to realize what it is that I want. I want someone who's going to share this path with me and not be on a separate path. And that's what transformed my life.
Wow.
That's so great. That's so great. I feel like that's what you were saying before. Before they came on, Michael was saying how we met, and then he came to my class. And in my class, this whole thing opened up for him. A whole world opened up for him. We started practicing Latihan. We started speaking our truth to each other. We set boundaries to each other, and nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
We just said, oh, that's fine. I didn't take it personally that he didn't want to stay over.
Right.
That Peter, the first time we met,
He came to one of my classes, and it's so fantastic. They get to see us in our power, and Peter actually wasn't afraid. Like, Michael, were you afraid of Laurie and her power?
I had no idea who Laurie was. She invited me to this bliss thing, and she's a master enroller. We were talking about enrollment earlier today, but what she created for me was a future of possibility when she enrolled me into this, into her bliss class. So I didn't know who Laurie was. I honestly didn't. I got enrolled and I thought, okay, yeah, I'll come check it out. And it was absolutely life-changing.
Yay.
Yeah.
And I actually did, I think back then, and this is almost 6 years ago, I actually did catch the vision of what's possible. Like I saw this amazing woman take charge. She's tiny, she's little, but she's big.
Yes. All things simultaneously. I agree.
You get what I'm talking about? She's big. She shows up in the room, and so she takes control of the room, and I'm just kind of like going, wow, because I'm a bit dominant myself, and I thought, interesting. Wow. And then she did her thing, and I went, I could see possibility in that. I could see living life according to my terms and being able to speak my truth and actually move in the unknown where I didn't always have to have it figured out. And I think that's one of the things for me that makes love and makes extraordinary love is the ability to be in this close alignment with her and still have some sovereignty or have sovereignty. Like, I know who I am, she knows who she is, and we are collectively moving in a direction. So I think that's extraordinary.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Very good. Very good. So we have a lot of people on with us today. Some people have sent some questions, and they may have some questions for you, and they may have some questions for us. I don't know yet. But anybody who's joined us, who's on with us now, if you have any questions for us, or if you have any questions for Monique and Peter, like, here's an opportune time. Like, we don't have a format, like it's going to move like this, and then they're going to say this, and then we're going to say this. Like, we're free flowing with them because we're Latihan because we know they're extraordinary lovers, and we extraordinarily love them.
Yeah.
So we just want to know if there's anything that you've never asked any of us, but you always wanted to ask, or you heard of us, but you never asked us this. Very few people get an opportunity to ask us stuff.
But isn't that the spice of life? Laurie, is being open to the energy that arises instead of using your mind to try and control every little aspect and be the architect of every single paragraph in your mind before actually blurting it out. How about saying something without really knowing what's inside of your head and just start talking and see what comes out?
Right.
There's so much creativity that is allowed to come forth when you use that ability to step into the unknown. And that's a huge part of our practice of loving each other, is surrendering to the unknown.
That is so good.
So good. That's so good. I couldn't have said it any better. So it's really, that's awesome. The unknown is a really important quality of life that, I don't know, nobody taught it to me. I mean, until later, much, much later. I didn't even know that it was something to look for.
Yeah.
You know, what don't I know? Let me go to, I was the kind of person early in life who only did things that I knew I could do. So it's like, you know, I knew I could ice skate, so I ice skated. I knew I could write well, so I wrote. I knew I could speak to people well, so I spoke. But if you said to me, let's go skiing, I would have been like, I don't know how to ski. I'm not going. Or I tried it once. I didn't like it. And someone once said to me, you know, the way you dance, you're such a great dancer. You could ski. I never put dancing and skiing together. And so then I put it together and I went, I can ski. Oh, maybe I could do other things. Right. You know, so I started looking for what I didn't do, what I didn't have experience with, and seeing what does it hold for me. Yeah, and I think this Twitch TV thing is the same thing, Michael.
Very much, yeah.
You know,
we don't know what's going to happen here, but.
Well, I have a question for you, Laurie.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to know, what is your favorite sexual position? No, I really do. I want to know.
Well, I could tell you that it isn't 69. For sure, it isn't that. Like, it isn't. I feel like, how can any one person let go when they could be like bitten to death, you know, or whatever. It looks better than it is, actually.
That's great, Laurie.
That's hilarious. I knew that.
Yeah, it isn't that.
But your favorite position? What's your favorite? Is it missionary or is it cowgirl? Or is it doggy?
It's all of the above.
Your favorite? You only get one favorite.
I know.
Laurie, you're breaking the rules.
It's easier if you ask me my favorite ice cream. I don't think I have a favorite. I don't think I have a favorite. I like it all.
Well, I'll tell you my favorite.
Go ahead.
What's your favorite, Michael?
She just asked.
Oh.
She just asked. My favorite is forward-facing cowgirl, like regular cowgirl, where she's riding me.
Favorite cat. Okay, great.
Forward-facing cowgirl.
Thank you. That's nice to know.
It's it's not missionary. I like missionary too. I really do. I like being on top and penetrating and feeling the experience of eye to eye and groin to groin. That's always fun.
It's fun.
There's a good connection. I have to ask you now. You're on the hot seat. What about you?
Well, I like to start missionary position and just being able to connect and feel each other. But my absolute favorite is doggy style. Like, it's just fun. It goes super deep. I get to be ravaged. I love it.
Yeah, we like it too. We like that too, especially with the Love Rider.
Oh, the Love Rider is amazing.
We have this thing called Love Rider, and the Love Rider makes it a really good angle so it doesn't hit the cervix.
Absolutely.
So that's good too. Yeah. Great.
All right, Peter, you're up.
Oh, I'm with Laurie. It's whatever I'm feeling in the moment. I'm so much connected to being energetically penetrated by the now that it's whatever I'm feeling in that moment. There's no favorite. There's no go-to. It's just sometimes I like being on top. Sometimes I like doggy style. I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah, but you don't like 69 as much either.
No. It's very overrated. Very overrated. It looked like before I ever did it, it looked like, wow, both getting pleasure at the same time. And then I realized, oh my God, you have to focus. So you can't really let go.
How do you receive? How do you
How
give?
can you receive? How can you give at the same? No.
How do you pay attention to be present and you're getting that?
It's on.
You're getting all that going on.
Very overrated.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Well, folks, we are officially rated R.
I think we're past rated R now.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got a question from Chrissy. She says, how did Monique and Peter get into Tantra? She also wants to know, how did Laurie get into Tantra? And Clinkbeard is on. Who is Clinkbeard? Clinkbeard seems to know you. He says,
from Boston.
Yeah, he says, it's been too long since you've seen. So shout out to Clinkbeard.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Steve.
Thanks for the follow.
Yeah. So, I don't know who should go first.
I think Monique and Peter should go first.
Okay, so Monique, how did you get into it? Because I know where I met you, but you were already into it. You were like hanging around with some pretty important names in the Tantra world.
So I found Cuddle Party, and that was like the entryway into this other world. And then Reed Mahauko that started it, like when I started telling him my desires, and I was like, we had this deep conversation that I'd never told anybody except for Nate, my husband. And he was just like, no, we can never do that. And so Reed came out to Utah, and we're just having this talk. And I'm like, I think I like butt stuff. And there was so much shame, and my face was red. And I was telling him how I kept telling Nate, like, I heard of this ranch in Nevada, and there's a whole menu that you can just go and buy a woman, and you can create whatever you want, and she's going to teach us things. Let's go do that for our anniversary. And Nate's just like, we can never do that because we're so Mormon and so religious. And I'm like, well, that's what I want. So I was telling him the story, and he's just like, there was no shame. There, like, he's laughing, but like not making fun of me. And like, it was this whole different transmission of, wow, there's more intimacy created by me sharing this. And he's like, there's someone that I want you to meet. And that was Kamala Devi in San Diego, because we were already traveling there for Comic-Con. And so I went to this free love weekend that Rita and Kamala Devi did. It was the first time going to a play party, and there were naked people everywhere. And I was just like, what kind of world is this? And there was still part of me wondering if I was going to go to hell. But there was this piece that Kamala Devi carries, that she back then, before Tantra Theater, then it was Tantra Awakenings. And I watched people step up, and they would share 5 minutes, like 2 to 5 minutes of a story. And then the improvers, including Shamroop, like all these amazing people I love dearly now, would get up and act it out. And like everyone could feel this level of normalizing sexuality, which is what I'd always wanted. I had no words for it. And then when I started realizing Tantra is the path of falling in love with yourself, then I'm like, this is it. Like, those are the words I always wanted to hear, is that you're enough, you're okay just the way you are. And like, this is my path, and this is what I want to share with the world. And then when I had my first yoni massage from a woman, like I was also Kamala Devi, then I just felt like, oh, I can hold the space for women, like all the things, all the trauma, everything I've gone through, the how penetration hurt, like everything in my life that had been a hardship now became this beautiful space of compassion that I could hold for others. And then it was just taking all the workshops I could take, assisting everywhere. And now, I've taught over 3,000 workshops and just holding the space. Like this whole 2 weeks that we've been on has all been Tantra transmissions. It's just not a workshop.
That's awesome. Beautiful story.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And Peter, for you?
Dynamic and colorful. Mine is much more boring. My mother actually was taking Carolyn and Charles Muir workshops back in the 80s, and also Margot Anand workshops and Gabriel Roth workshops, who's the
Wow.
She did all of these teachers back in the 80s, and I just gleaned a little bit of it when I was growing up, and I saw these books, and she had these videos, and I watched these videos, and I got turned on, like, oh, okay, Tantra is like this interesting embodiment movement practice. And then I ran into Monique, and Monique was the one that opened that door that I didn't know existed. And I opened the door and like looked through this door, I'm like, holy crap, like there's a whole other galaxy in here that I had no idea was alive. And so I'm very grateful that Monique and I met, because I would not be the same facilitator now in front of you if I have not met Monique.
Wow. Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, I feel the same way about you.
Right.
I would not be here. I would not be on this screen right now were it not for Laurie Handlers. Like really, when we first started seeing each other, I asked her, I said, can we date? And she said, slow your roll. She said, you need to know something. I come with like a Surgeon General's warning, like on a pack of cigarettes, she says, I come with one of those. It's a warning. I will disrupt your life. Boy, was she right. I mean, I was the guy that was wiring, data centers together and installing routers and switches and wireless. And I was a total nerd, really. And now I'm a total nerd, but in a completely
in a different way.
Different
my life has
context.
been disrupted.
Different way.
That's what I'm getting at.
And my story is really, it takes a lot of turns. I'm not going to tell the whole big story, but I'll just say that I always knew. I started having sexual intercourse when I was 18. And I had other sexual relations before that with my boyfriend in high school. But when I started having sex, it was just, really, this is it? Like, I was just like, this is it? This thing I've been waiting for is this? There's got to be more to this. Like, I would say to my partners then, there's got to be more to it than what we're doing. I think it's a deeper connection. And they looked at me like I was crazy. So it wasn't until, so it's like something that I held inside because I didn't have anybody who didn't think I was crazy, to talk to about it. And then in 1986, I read an article about Margot Anand. And I went, this is it. This is what I've been looking for, but that 86, there was no internet. So I didn't know where to find her. So I waited another 10 years, 1996. And someone said to me, there's going to be a Tantra class in Silver Spring, Maryland. I lived in Washington, D.C. And I said, I'm going to it. And like day one, it was like, yep, this is it. This is it. And so I planned to do it on the side. I was like government contracting then. And for the Bill Clinton administration, I was doing welfare to work things. And I was making a huge difference in people's lives who needed to get off the welfare rolls. And when George W. Bush was elected, he took all those contracts and he gave them to churches. And I wasn't a member of a church and I wasn't going to open a church. And like, that was the end of my income. Like, it just went away overnight. And I said, well, this thing I've been studying, Tantra, looks like this is what I'm going to be doing. So I just became a full-time Tantra teacher. The minute
Laurie, the universe pushed you out of the nest. And the universe is like, no, you need to fly. It just like pushed you.
Right. So I always tell people, no matter what side you were on, George W. Bush did one good thing. Like, he pushed me out of the nest. Like, he just took away my income.
He made her
He took thousands and thousands of dollars out of my pocket.
Yep.
And I just went, well, I'm going to survive. Sex always sells. And it doesn't matter what administration is in office. Sex will continue to sell. So I'm going to sell the kind of sex that brings people to their empowerment as opposed to something else. I'm not going to use it to manipulate them. I'm going to show them how they've been manipulated.
Right.
So that was it was an easy choice. And it was, I think my first workshop was in 1999. My first solo, I can't remember what year he was elected, but around 1999, it's when I started teaching on weekends, 98, 99. And then in 2000, that was it. Launched. Yeah. It was it. So yeah, that was it for me. And I've never looked back. I haven't done anything else since then. You know? Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. And I was thinking about it too, about podcasting. Someone was asking me recently, someone at Hayden is asking me about how to get a podcast started. And my station that I've been with now for about 10 years, I've been podcasting for 14 years. I just, been talking about sex and happiness for 14 years. It's for me, I was always the girl that always went to the locker room in high school. I would ask the boys the questions, and then I would run to the locker room in high school and tell all the girls what they needed to know.
You told me, you said that you would hear boys talking to each other and they would say something, or they would say a word.
That's why I thought boys always talked.
Blowjob or something like that, and you'd go, "What's that?" And they would tell you, and then you'd go tell the girls.
Yeah,
right?
I can remember all the boys in high school standing against the cafeteria, and they would be humming. And I was like, what are they humming about? And I looked at them. They all had this funny look on their face. And I was like, what are you doing? And they said, we're humming. I said, well, what is that? And they said, there's something called a hum job. And I went, what is that? And they said, you put your mouth on somebody's genitals and you hum. So I went right to the locker room and I told all the girls, there's this thing they're making jokes about. We should know what it is when we walk by them so we're not embarrassed. I was that girl. I
love it.
I always had the curiosity. I had to find out what were they talking about so that we would know, so we wouldn't be so ignorant.
Right. I think that should be homework for everybody listening today. Everybody watching. You have to give someone a hum job before our next show, for our next live stream.
I mean, I don't know if that's a term, but like that's what the boys in my high school were laughing about.
That's awesome. So you've always been kind of like the sex coach.
I've been really precocious. Yeah. I've always been like a sex and relationship coach to people. They always trusted me with their intimate details.
Yeah, and you were a professional matchmaker for a while, weren't you?
Yeah, I did that too.
Yeah.
I was a professional matchmaker in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
So Tantra has been a big part of your life for well over 20 years.
I feel like I've been tantric before I knew about Tantra.
Yeah.
And now that I know about Tantra, I'm on purpose. I'm purposefully, intentionally tantric.
I love it.
Like I always like to order dessert before the rest of the meal. You know this about me. So
well, I'm the same way, Laurie.
Monique too. So I always like to order dessert before the rest of the meal. And like in my book, Sex and Happiness, it starts with the dessert. It starts with the law 10 first. Right. What's the most exciting dessert you could have? And then how do you get there? Like how do you build up to that? So yeah, I've always been that way.
Yeah. Well, we've got a question here. Actually, it's a statement. So Chris Petersen says, wow, falling in love with self, so good. That's my holdback. So that's her holdback, is self-love.
Oh, well, we're not going to let you get away with that.
Let's give her a pro tip, guys. Let's give her some kind of a, self-love, what you can do for Chris.
Self-care. That's the greatest lesson I can offer to start. Once you start prioritizing, taking care of your body, like really getting past, because so many of us, society teaches us that we need to be selfless. And so you're doing for everyone else and you're getting rewarded for it. But inside, then there's parts of you that are slowly dying away and they just don't trust you. Like they're not going to speak to you anymore. And so the more that you can start helping your body like tangibly feel that you're listening, then you get to start having those other minor things where your body's telling you, ooh, I want to go here. I want to do this. And self-care is the greatest hack that I found for that. And so it's really being able to put yourself first. Like, what do you want to eat at the restaurant? Like that was the very first thing that I was able to actually do for myself. And I just pick like 9 or 10 things from the menu. And the worst thing that the waiter could say is no, like we're not going to do substitutions. And then I'm just, okay, I'll go to a different restaurant. And then so that was the first hack. Like, I can actually ask for whatever food I want and create it. And if everyone's a no, I create it myself. And then it became like Peter was such a great help in being able to do some stretching, doing some Qigong every day, that sleeping is actually as important. Because to me, I'm just like, oh, I sleep 6 hours a day. I have all this energy. I just want to go do all these things, when really my body was so tired, it was exhausted and I couldn't even hear it. And so the more that you're able to find the ways, bath time, like stretching, going in nature, going on hikes, like what are the things that actually really feed your body? You have amazing food. Like you go to the grocery store and you can pick non-organic or organic, then pick organic whenever you can. Like, listen, what are the things that are actually taking care of you? And that's the beginning of you falling in love with yourself.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's great. Thank you.
And
Right.
I would add self-pleasure.
Yeah.
How do you know what somebody else should do for you unless you do it for yourself? And like really be honest with yourself. No, I don't like this. No, I really like this. I like this toy. I don't like this. I want this position. Just what we said before, what's your favorite position?
Yeah.
Like go in your favorite position. Don't do something for somebody else. Do something for yourself.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was going to say is stop being a martyr. Stop having to placate for other people's wishes. Stop having to try and speculate what other people are thinking about you or what you're supposed to do. Like really dive into what's alive in your heart and focus on how you can export that aliveness out into the world. And how can you execute and really be with that excitement? I mean, that highest excitement is what feeds our soul and allows us to create our dreams. So yeah, stop placating, stop worrying about what other people think about you. Like, oh, what are people going to think? Who cares? You know,
Yeah.
you are the most important person in your movie. Like you are the starring actor. You do what you want to do, and there, I mean, and there's a balance too. It's like you don't just be self-centered and selfish and constantly like taking over a conversation or hogging the microphone, but find balance in how you can do what you love and also help other people around you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the being of service to others is also self-nourishing, right? It feels good to be of service to another. And for me, that's a great way of being, or of my own nourishing of myself, bringing pleasure to my partner. The little things that I do that sometimes she wasn't expecting, you know, like I'll make her water and put a little, apple cider vinegar in it
in the morning.
Yeah. And it's something that she does every morning, and every now and then she'll walk up and there it is. And I'm not only taking care of her, I'm taking care of me. It makes me feel good to be able to do something like that. But what's really great is that she comes in at night and she rubs my back until I fall asleep.
No.
She's kind of she can get handsy too.
Handsy.
You know what handsy is?
Grabby.
I say grabby.
Grabby.
My name is Handlers.
Yep. She gets handlery. Handler Z.
Anyway, I expected you to say that self-care for you, or self-love for you starts with boundaries.
It does.
I mean, you didn't say it, but I expected you to say it because you say you have definitely, you're to me, you're the clearest person about boundaries that I ever met.
Oh, wow.
Thank
you.
Know, that's all. He just said, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not this kind of person. I'm not going to do this. I was just like, okay, what will you do?
Yeah.
And then we, came together on what he would do as opposed to his boundaries. And I liked your boundaries. I thought they were fine.
Yeah.
So that too, Chris, boundaries.
Boundaries are good. Yeah. I like the idea of dessert first. That's a good one. I like you know what I really like is the taking care of yourself with, being in a tub with bubbles and like we all know about that kind of thing. Like that's one way to do it. Definitely. But boundaries, I think, is one of the ones that really does help you to if not manage, but to at least express like something that's important to you. And then you can stand on as well, So boundaries is a good one. Yeah. So Chris says, thank you. Got it. And she says, thank you, Peter. Love that. Awesome. Yeah. And order yourself dessert.
Order dessert.
Get that first.
Yeah. I think we should do that on Thanksgiving. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. Any others?
Any other questions? Oh, here's one. This is a question for everyone. What is your favorite tantric/spiritual practice for self-love?
Oh, mine is Lottie Han. I taught it to you earlier in the day. You can go to my website, lauriehandlers.com/unknown, and you can get a lesson in Lottie Han in case you have never joined us in Lottie Han before.
Yeah.
That's where I go. That's where I commune with, I don't even know what. It just like, that's where authentic things and creations happen in me, Lottie Han. Yeah.
Love it.
What is yours?
I'd say for me, it's doing the Viju mantras, like putting my hand on a chakra point and then speaking the mantras like Lam, Vam, Ram, Yum, Hum, Om. And when I do that, I go into the deepest meditation states. Oh my God. I just like, I'm in another world. I'm in another reality. I'm in another dimension. Like that's how deep I am when I do those.
Wow,
those
beautiful.
Mantras. Yeah. When I do qigong and I do those mantras and I sit and meditate, it's literally like there's no words. There's no words to describe it. It's absolute bliss and peace.
All right, good. So
awesome.
Can you type this in, Biju mantras?
Biju mantras.
Yeah.
How do you spell it? V?
No, it's a B.
Oh, it is. It is Biju.
B-I-J-U.
Biju.
Yeah.
Chrissy will do it.
Okay.
She's our moderator.
But she might not have heard of it.
She's
before.
our producer.
She might not have heard of it before.
Well, you can't do it here yet.
Oh, I can't do it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll type it in later in case you don't know what it is.
Yeah, Chrissy will put it in there. It's Biju mantras.
Bijou.
Okay.
It could have an X.
Just J-U. I think it's just J-U. B-I-J-U, I think, Lori.
I thought it was O-U.
She spelled it B-I-J-O-U. Is that right? B-I-J-O-U?
Yeah.
Close enough.
Make sure you
Let's Google it.
And Monique, what about yours?
It's definitely ritual. And my favorite ritual is love making in different ways, but like from the bath, like the rose petals, and like I traveled all over and led pujas and the art of adoration. And so when you actually take time to be adored and let yourself absolutely, utterly receive without the need to give back, then there's so much there for you to just start falling in love with yourself. And whether it's self-pleasuring, whether you're sitting in a puja receiving from a partner or from many partners, or whether you're making love, like creating ritual is what your brain, like it short circuits those neural pathways that we've created. So you've gone and you keep doing something, and so those pathways get formed. So then as you start creating ritual, an intentional space that you feel at bliss, that you're able to receive, that you feel safe, like whatever it is that you're wanting to create, then those neural pathways start shortcutting it. So then just the smell of rose petals, just that dark chocolate sitting there, the lighting, a sound, like your favorite song, then your brain is already right here. And then you get to go, it's like this timeless place where when you start the ritual, then you're already back in your body to where you ended the ritual the last time. So you just get to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And I love that.
So good.
Yeah.
I had quite the experience in your adoration puja last summer in Sweden. It was really deep for me. It was really beautiful. And I made a vow that day that I was never going to go on the road again anywhere without Michael. And then soon thereafter, Michael stopped being a network engineer, and he's joined me now.
I retired my
full-time
commission and became a full-time.
So that happened with you.
Co-facilitator. Yeah. So thank you.
That happened with you.
Thank you.
It's all our fault, man.
I love you. Thank you.
I love you so much. And I love you, Lori, supported so well by you.
It was so great. And some of you also know Satya. And Satya, I met Satya in that puja with you too. He was participating in that puja, and then he participated in a bunch of things with us. So he's like, he said to me, "Oh, Laurie Handlers, I heard about you." And he was in one of those pieces of ritual with me. And he's now like permanently in my life.
Yeah.
So great, in Michael's life too. So
Satya is a dear brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell mine. My favorite tantra self-love practice is 21 breaths. It's the mudra with 21 breaths that I do. It's powerful. It's as you spoke earlier, Peter, being able to go deep into the meditation, so much so that it's almost as though I've stepped aside from my personal physical space, and then I'm allowing something else to nourish me. So it's just a really powerful way to do that. And then also self-pleasure, which is another one of my favorite, because that's tantric. It's about breath, sound, and movement.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's good. None of us said eye gazing. Years ago, my first podcast was called Tantra Cafe. And so I only interviewed tantric people. Now I interview, a broader category, but everyone, when I would say, what's your favorite practice? Every single person said eye gazing.
Oh my God.
And that's when I knew I had to stop doing it because I was so bored. Like, I mean, eye gazing is really important. It's really important and it's a basic foundation, but then there's so much more.
Yeah.
Everyone said it. I said, okay, that's it. I'm not,
when people try to eye gaze with me, I go cross-eyed. Just to mess with them. No, I'm kidding.
That's not fun, Michael. That's not nice.
That's me. I'm sorry. Let's eye gaze.
No, eye gazing is a really good ritual, but it isn't the only thing.
Right.
And that's what people think Tantra is, only eye gazing. So, but eye gazing is good. And if you are going to eye gaze, this is for anybody who's brand new. If you're going to eye gaze, I always recommend that you point to your left eye. And then your partner points to their left eye, and then you put your hands down. So when you're gazing, you're actually gazing really at their left eye, one eye, the receptive side of the body, left. So
agreed.
Well, since you're talking about eye gazing too, Laurie, what most people don't know is they think eye gazing is to connect you to the other. And yeah, it's fantastic. Like you get to feel each other. The actual tantric purpose of eye gazing is to look so deeply that you see yourself mirrored in the other.
That's good. Wow. Say that again. Say that again.
Eye gazing connects you to your partner, but that's not the absolute purpose. The purpose is for you to connect so deeply that you look so deep into their soul that you see yourself reflected back.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
That's the meaning of namaste.
All right, I'll do eye gazing. I'll do it.
That's the meaning of namaste. I bow to the divine in you. And when you and I are both in that divine place and we can meet there, then I see you and I see myself.
Yeah.
So that is the meaning. Okay, so you want to eye gaze? Not now.
Too late. Too late. I eye gazed you.
No.
Do you feel violated? Did I violate a boundary?
I don't.
No? Okay. You let me know if I do.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And if I do, I'd like a spanking.
Oh, great.
Is that all right?
Yeah, we're not talking about BDSM today.
Not today.
Not today.
We're talking about doing it tonight. We'll definitely have a whole program on BDSM so that we can really dive deep into the chaos.
Yes.
So
definitely.
yeah.
Can I share something that happened yesterday?
Yeah, please do.
So I loved going for spa days, but I'd never been to a really fancy spa. And so one of our friends here said, look, I'm taking us out for a girls' day out. And we show up at this place and we ask for this Ayurvedic massage. And so we go in and there's all these rainbow scarves on the bed. And we're like, oh, are we supposed to take those off? And they're like, no, it's part of the massage. And so they actually tie it around your wrist, they tie on different places. And then they bring it up and relax you. And they tie it around your belly and they lift you up and relax you. And so it was a total BDSM massage because after they tied our whole body, then they took out herbs and then they started flogging our entire body with the herbs. And I'd never experienced a massage like that, especially in this public setting. And it was just the most incredible feeling ever. And then I'm like, ooh, Peter, we got to do more of those BDSM massages because that's another thing for our arsenal.
That's
and I had no idea something like that existed.
What did they actually call it?
It was called I don't know. I'll have to look it up for you, honey.
Okay.
Yeah. It was something with aromatherapy and herbs and my friends were joking calling it prehistoric, so that's all I can think of. Like something.
The prehistoric BDSM massage.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there is something called bondage.
Really?
Somebody that we know does, and you know, Jaylene Bennett. She started it, and she they tie the person to the table, and then they have them have all these sensations. And they also have earphones on, so they can't tell when you're going to do something.
I'm not hating on that idea. Oh, that sounds like fun. I mean, you know, I'm for the most part, you know, not for the most part, I'm dominant. I tend to lean masculine. And so every now and then when I get a chance to let my feminine side receive, which has always been tough for me, is the receiving part, right? But as I let go and I allow my feminine to receive, and I have to have a partner that I trust. So I do. So it really does make a difference. It really does. Yeah. I'll let you whip me. I won't let anybody else. Peter, you no.
No?
No. Sorry.
Laurie, now I want to do the puja for you two, and you can give to Michael, and Michael will get to receive from you.
That would be so great. That would be so great. Yeah.
All right, Peter, I'm changing my mind.
He has not experienced that. He hasn't really.
No.
There's not a lot of opportunity where he's experienced that. He had, you know, he's gotten massages and stuff, but he hasn't had a lot of experience where he allows himself to receive.
Okay, it's a date. When we get there to Phoenix, it's a date.
Right, awesome.
And I'm typically the giver.
You are?
Yeah.
Well, you're the controller.
I'm definitely a controller.
I don't know anything about that, Michael.
Although
yeah, you've been coerced into.
I was coerced.
I hypnotized him. You know, he was a person who told me he had another boundary when we met. His boundary was that he didn't like oral sex. He didn't want to receive. And I was just like,
can I say something about that? Can I just say, please? I want to say something about that. The reason behind that was because most of the time when I was given oral, it almost felt like it was out of obligation. Like I did her, so she's doing me, or something like that. And I always felt like it was like, it was a violation of some boundary that I didn't want to do that. I didn't ever want that to be. And part of that, maybe in my head, didn't allow me to have really good experiences. And quite frankly, some of the women who were doing it weren't doing it the way I like it. Yeah.
You didn't even know how.
I really didn't. So
I taught a course with 2 hypnotists from Vegas called Hypnosis for Lovers, and they taught me how to hypnotize. And then I said to him, I just did this course with these 2 master hypnotists. Will you allow me to hypnotize you? And he said, why?
That's what I said.
And I said, because I would like to give to you. I'd like you to receive in a way that I don't believe you're open to receiving. And I'd like you to have an experience. So he said yes, because he trusted me. And I hypnotized him.
Yep.
And I took him on a journey, you know, through jungles and in Brazil and all over the place in the hypnosis. And then he surrendered and allowed himself to receive. And that changed a lot.
Yeah, the game changed.
I want that date, Laurie. I want to be hypnotized by you.
Okay.
I ask her all the time. I'm like, did you unhypnotize? Did you ever click your fingers? Am I still hypnotized? She's like, you're still hypnotized. I don't know what I'm talking about right now.
I don't know if I unhypnotized.
She's the marionette, and I'm just, hello, my name is Pinocchio.
That would be you. Would be the marionette.
You're the marionette.
I would be the puppet.
You're the puppet master. I'm the marionette. Right.
Laura, you need to hypnotize me.
Now we
I'd
all
love
want to
to
be
hypnotize
hypnotized by you, Laurie.
I'll hypnotize you all. These two guys, we had so much fun. I should bring that class back, though.
Yeah.
These two guys were so much fun. They could just go like this, and the person would be out. Like they would just go like that. They'd go, okay, go into trance, and everybody would be like,
wow.
and then they taught lovers how to hypnotize each other, to take each other past wherever they had a stopping point. So like if there was something you thought, it's kind of like you, Monique, when you were saying those things to read in the beginning, it's like these guys would say, okay, they'll hypnotize you and allow you to give yourself permission for anything.
Mm.
And they, there were couples here who like, they had real stopping points and they got past them through hypnosis.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
What?
I'm sure it's not the last time I'm going to be your guinea pig.
Probably not. Probably not.
I promise you that you will always forever be my favorite guinea pig, because I like to experiment on you as well.
Yeah, and I trust you, so
Yeah.
it's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
That's another thing you are bringing in. Like that's another thing that makes extraordinary lovership is trust.
Yeah.
And it's not just trusting each other. What has to come first is you have to trust yourself.
Yeah.
Do the work to trust yourself, because then you have the ability to be able to receive, to trust the other.
Yeah. This is a great topic. I mean, really, I wonder how many couples struggle with that. It seems that sometimes, and we say this all the time, couples are, an endangered species. So, so it seems like sometimes couples just don't know how to receive from each other, or maybe there's what's the word? It's so familiar, or it's, you know what I mean? Like it's just kind of like we don't really do that, I have a questionnaire that I ask people. I say, hey, do you tell your fantasies to your partner, and do they support you in
getting them
in acting out or fulfilling those fantasies? And you'd be surprised. Like about less than 50% of people, when I ask that question, say no, or less than 50 say yes.
They don't tell.
Most say no.
They don't tell. Well, that's the thing. Monique was telling her partner, and her partner was saying, no, we could never do that. And so she found somebody to tell and said, yeah, I'll bring you somewhere.
You need to know what you want. So many people don't really know what they want. Like what I look for is I look for confidence, humility, and creativity. You got those three things, you're okay in my book, and I want to hang around you. If you're like constantly just like narcissistically talking about yourself and it's always about you, or you don't have much humility, I was like, this is a person I don't want to be around. And if there's no creativity there on top of that, then it's like, this is boring. Like I want to be with someone who's juiced up and charged up and really goes after what they want. And Monique was really one of the first people I met as a partner who really had like a focused vision of who she was and where she was going and how to get there. And to me, that was incredibly powerful.
That's so good
for me to fall in love with.
That's so good.
That is
Monique,
so good.
I love seeing your face when he's saying that. Like you're
she's
getting
kind of melty right
she's
now.
She's a little melty and pink.
It's important to know what you want, and I think there's just so many people who don't really. They kind of know, but they're not really doing much about how to focus their energy on what it is. And it's about ritual. It's about taking time to meditate. It's about being with yourself. It's like get off your phone, get off your computer, go for a walk, and just be with yourself for a little bit. And a lot of us don't do that anymore. And that's a large part of our teaching, is helping people really dive into that unknown space of being with yourself.
Yeah. Doing the work of why you try to distract yourself or run away from you.
Yeah.
No matter where you go.
There you are.
There you are. There you are. You may as well like yourself.
Welcome to your life. All right.
Yeah. See if we have any other questions.
Let's see here.
I'm going to tell people now, like we're winding down. We're coming to our last, few moments together. So while you had this, you got 4 powerhouses here. I'll speak for myself. I know I'm a powerhouse. I know he's a powerhouse. I know they're powerhouses. Yes. You got 4 of us here. We travel the world helping people become empowered to be their own powerhouse. What could you want to ask us that you just wouldn't get the 4 of us together necessarily in the same room? If there's a question, ask it now.
Yeah.
Really ask it now.
Yeah.
You know, and if you realize from this talk that you're in your own way, then get out of your way. Like come and see one of us, contact one. We are these 4 people, me and us, are all accessible.
Right.
You know, we answer our emails, we answer our messages on Facebook, we answer people, you know, so contact us, because we stand for life to be better on this earth, for life to be more empowered, for people to get what they want.
And that is exactly why we're here on twitch.tv. I mean, that's the reason that we showed up here, so people would have even more access, right? So that we can have these kind of conversations with people that we love and admire, and that they get to experience you. Right. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this. So definitely ask questions, really. Something else that I wanted to maybe just pivot a little bit, and that is I wanted to share with everybody the fact that our Sex and Happiness journey is coming up December 1st. And so if you're kind of on the fence and don't really know that much about Tantra, I'm going to tell you, this probably is one of the best places to go and get started. Like the very first steps that you can take towards anything are usually the most scary, right? So if you're hearing all this Tantra talk, what's Tantra? This Tantra that, Tantra this. So here's what I'd like to do is, let's remove the mystery. There's mystery to Tantra, but let's remove the mystery and let's give really the basics of what Tantra is about. And that's what the Sex and Happiness journey does. Right. It really does.
It's online 10 weeks with myself and Brianna Krebeyer, and you're on there. Yep. And Johnny Vajra is on there. He's a beloved of all of us. And Veronica Clark is on there. And we're going to be starting up December 1st. So find out about that from us. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. You can find out more information. Just check in our everywhere.
Checking our everywhere.
But on Twitch,
I want to check in your everywhere.
Go check out my everywhere.
Here,
on
look.
Twitch.
Here, check it out. Where is it? It's like...
Well, if you're on Twitch, there are links down below, and then if you're finding this on YouTube or Facebook or any of the other places, you can look at our link tree. So and we'll have all the links in there, but
it's a deep dive into my book, Sex and Happiness: The Tantric Laws of Intimacy, and how to get these practices into your life. So, a lot of times people read a book and then they put it down. That was nice.
Yeah.
But this is like, you're going to read a chapter each week with a whole cohort of people who are reading that chapter, and then you're going to get the practices, some of which the 4 of us have talked about already today, and it's a really good place to start if you've never started.
Yep. It's 10 weeks with 5 facilitators, and Laurie Handler being our lead facilitator for that.
That's beautiful. Hey, so, I know you got a couple minutes left, but I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
What is it that you can do tantrically to help move through challenges in communication with your partner? So you're having a challenge. What is a tantric thing that you can do to help bring harmony and bridge a gap between the two of you?
Eye gaze.
But what if you're super pissed off and you don't want to eye gaze?
Yeah, if you're in your piss off, eye gazing is probably not, because you're throwing darts at each other, and that's probably not good.
No, emotional release would always be my answer to that. Some form of emotional release. I have many forms of it. At ISTA, we do 7 tools, which I've expanded into 9 or 11 tools. I don't know. And then I have standard emotional release practices, bioenergetic emotional release, yoga, boxing, hand screaming. There's a lot of things. You have to, if you are having difficulty with your partner is your mirror. So they're mirroring to you somewhere inside yourself, something you haven't accepted about yourself, some quality that they're showing you that you have, something you can't be with, a disowned part of yourself, whatever it is. But normally it's my responsibility to take charge of that. So I'm going to release the charge that I have, and then I'm going to have a conversation.
Yep.
You know, I was really charged before when this thing happened. I saw red.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't even talk to you. I had to leave the room. Great. I left the room and I took responsibility for what was moving through my body. I moved it, and now I'm back to talk.
So that whole part right there, that's one tantric part. The other tantric part that we teach in Extraordinary Lovers Experience and in our journeys is to create that ritual space that you two were talking about. We create the bubble. That's a Margot Anand. We learned that from Margot Anand. And then inside the bubble, then we have a very direct conversation. And Chris just mentioned it, but it's our cough it up, blow it up, clean it up methodology for actually communicating what it is that you're in piss off about and actually get through it, right? Like solve the problem and then come back to love while inside that bubble.
Right away. Come back as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Thanks for that question.
That's a good question.
A great question.
Oh, I love it.
Great question.
It just Tantra, it enhances our lives in so many different ways. Why can't it enhance our life with our partner, who we sometimes have a challenge communicating with? And there's got to be breath, movement, sound, and touch in some form of practice that can help alleviate the tension that's between the two of you. And for me, it's touch. It's like when we get a little irritated, I say, hey, hold my hand. Like, let's just breathe.
Nice.
Just hold my hand. Let's just breathe. And we can just be with this anger. We can be with this resentment or irritation. And let's just hold each other here.
Yeah, we do a hugging meditation.
Yeah. And we just hug each other. And then slowly but surely the energy is released, because it's just energy that wants to move. And it's like a tornado. It's running through you. And then you allow it to dissipate, and then you come back in, and then your eyes come back to being softer, and you realize, like, hey, I really do love you, and I want to spend more precious moments with you in a space of harmony and peace, and not in this anger and agitation. So it's a powerful tool.
That is a great tool.
Touch
so
it.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we discovered Tantra. Tantra came into the West in exactly the right time. It was needed and necessary because people in the West were losing their soul. They were losing their connection. No, literally, I mean that. Like I've said to people before, I'm revoking your soul card. You know, like. But that was like really joking. But I feel like we got lost in materialism. We got lost in stuff. And things and purchasing and the power of money. We got I don't have any gripes with money. I like money, but I don't worship money. And so Tantra came into my life, and I think it came into the West in exactly the time it was needed to make people sensitive to the fact that we're human beings and we live in a body, and the body is a great thing. It's a great and wonderful playground.
I wouldn't want to be in a robot. Like
no. But if I have to, if that's the only way I could live longer, I will.
I like skin.
I'm a transhumanist, so I would go into a robot if that was the only choice that I had.
If it had skin.
I love it.
If it was like a, what is it, like T2? What was it?
R2D2.
No, not R2D2.
Oh.
No, it'd have to be a biological.
And we're coming back around. We talked about Star Wars earlier.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I want to be a Wookiee.
Well, let's have people find out how to get in touch with.
Absolutely. That was the
Peter
next thing I was going to say. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
before we run out of time, how should people get in touch with you?
Our website is everydaytantra.com. And you can go there. We have tons of free videos, tons of free content for you. It will say when our upcoming online or in-person events will be. The in-person events will hop up in the next couple of weeks. And they will be next year in Cabo in this amazing, amazing space. And we're super excited.
Yeah, that's great. I can't wait to talk to you more about it. I guess you've had a chance to like break it in.
They're breaking it in right now.
It's an amazing space. There's a beach to walk to like a few minutes away. The water,
naked yachting. There's so many things, Laurie.
The water is incredibly warm.
There's hundreds of fishies, literally walls of fish that come to you when you go to this one beach for scuba diving, and it's just navigating through fish after fish after fish.
Wow.
It's amazing here, honey.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Excited to take the rest of the year off because of COVID, but come February, we're going to do some in-person events down here in Cabo. So we're excited.
Wonderful.
Forward to it. That's exciting. Yeah.
All right. So that was everydaytantra.com. To find Monique and Peter and find out what they're doing. Of course, I told you could go to lauriehandlers.com and you can go /unknown. You get some stuff on Lottie Han.
Yep.
And we're giving away three free gifts. We're giving away
3 free gifts.
That's like a tongue twister.
Yeah.
We're giving away 2 copies of Sex and Happiness, the ebook version, and we're giving away 1 copy of the Lottie Han original music by Eric Mandala.
Right.
For people who joined us today.
That's right. And so the way for you to register for that is to go to lauriehandlers.com /unknown. And so a thing will pop up and then you'll put in your email address and we'll be able to get in touch with you to give you those gifts. So do that now. Do that now.
Great. All right. So shall we say namaste?
Namaste.
Shall we say goodbye?
Already?
Go.
Now let's go.
Go. Oh, we have to eat. It's lunchtime.
We have to pee. We love you. We can't wait to see you again. I know
we love you. We miss you.
December. I miss you too.
Yeah.
And everybody else on here, whether we know you or we don't know you, you're part of us now. So we love you too. Yeah. And we'll be seeing more of you and you'll be seeing more of us.
That's right. Thank you for being with us. We love you. We appreciate you. And we will see you next week on Extraordinary Lovers TV live stream for lovers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, loves. Happy luncheon.